The Jersey Swap podcast is sponsored by Apollo Home. Folks, your orange and blue are back in action, but chances are your AC has already been running a full match and added extra time, especially this extremely hot summer. Why don't you get in touch with Apollo Home? Give them a call. Mention that you are a CST listener, and Mike there will give you a hefty deal. Give them a call. You can even send them a text or schedule online at apollohome.com. Hey guys, we're back with another episode of the Jersey Swap podcast. We finally pushed the rock up to the top of one peak, only to realize we have another mountain to scale. We are hitting pause on the MLS calendar. We're going to join the 2025 Leagues Cup already in progress. We have a few games already going on tonight. If you've followed FC Cincinnati over the past 2 years, there's been a little bit of improvement, but we still got pounced out of the tournament last year in the round of 16. So this time around, there's also a slight tweak to the system. Now, the group stage matches are all MLS versus Liga MX before the knockout stages begin. Will this make the competition better? That's one question to address in this roundtable. We brought two big guests to talk about the upcoming tournament. One of them I'd like to introduce right now. We have Jaime Landeros. I'm pretty sure I butchered that. From Cantina MX joining me tonight first. How are we doing tonight, Jaime?
Hey, thanks for having me. You got it right. Jaime Landeros, Cantina MX Football Podcast. Happy to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's nice to have a small break in the schedule, but this is now MLS versus Liga MX, so we wanted to bring in some big time experts for this. Can you sort of introduce all what Cantina MX is all about?
Yeah, Cantina is Spanish for bar, so we have that same vibe on our podcast. You're at a bar, you're watching a game, and then you talk to the fellow next to you, and all of a sudden, everybody gets looped in on the conversation. So we want to keep it that way, and we broadcast all our episodes live on Twitter Spaces, and it's kind of like a radio show. Our listeners can chime in, request to speak, and some of the conversations sometimes get derailed, but you also hear from different perspectives. So we really love that style. And yeah, you can check us out at cantinamx.com.
Yeah, we run our own live show here at Cincinnati Soccer Talk. We don't quite have the banter that comes in from phone calls anymore, but we do have a lively chat. Probably not as lively as some of the Mexican podcast chats could end up being.
Yeah, we're quite passionate people. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I kind of wish that we had some passionate fans on that level sometimes. I think at this point in the season, a lot of us are kind of tired, a lot of sweaty fans out there, but we'll see how they think of Liga MX coming to town for a few times. But thank you very much for joining me tonight.
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to bring up our next guest. He's been on here before. He is the leader of Rayados90. Eddie, let's bring you back on the stage. How are you doing tonight, Eddie?
I'm doing good. Summer, I enjoy, here in the LA area. The sun doesn't go down till 8:30, almost 8:30. So it's nice to have these long, daylights where you can see the sun.
I mean, the good news is that these games are going to be 7 p.m., 5:30 p.m. So we're going to get a little bit of the dusk coming in. You probably get some nice, beautiful games. I don't know if anybody follows the Cincinnati Reds account, but they had a beautiful picture of the sunset.
I am a Dodgers fan. I saw it yesterday. It looked like, no offense, it looked apocalyptic. It looked like what was going on out there. It felt like when we had like the wildfires earlier this year,
geez.
where it just like the sky is red, like red orange. It felt like it gave me those types of flashbacks. But yeah, I didn't know that was a thing. I thought something was going on over there. Okay, so it's just normal there.
It's pretty incredible. Can you reintroduce yourself to the public here?
Yes.
What you do with Rayados90?
Yeah, so it all started with the Twitter account. I just wanted to cover the team in English or just like tweet about it. And then it just turned into a podcast. It turned into like a large, I do a lot of GIF content, or a lot of like screen record stuff from match days or whatever. So it's a combination of podcasts and Twitter account that just covers the team on a weekly, daily basis. But yeah, I've been on here. This is the second time in 3 years that Monterrey goes to Cincinnati. Last time we were there, or they were there, was for the CONCACAF Champions Cup. So it's good to be back on here, and it's good to always talk to you guys.
Well, I mean, the great thing about this is that we've had a lot of experience with Monterrey over the past year. Of course, the common link being Brendan Vasquez, who is now part of Austin FC and unfortunately is on the injured list to start this. I'm sure he is licking his chops wanting to play some of these matches between Mexican and North American team, all the North American teams playing each other. But once again, I wanted to thank everybody joining us. I think what we want to do is we want to get right into this brand new format. For people that are not in the know just yet, they have sort of kind of scrapped it and turned it into, would you say, almost like a Champions League feel, where now everything's just one big MLS table, one big Liga MX table, and the top 4 teams qualify for the next kickout rounds. That means that MLS teams will play 3 Liga MX teams. Liga MX will play 3 MLS teams. And they have a bunch of tiebreakers. I haven't gone into those yet. I don't think we want to go into those yet. I think the primary question, I'll address this to Jaime first. What are your thoughts on this brand new format?
Yeah, I think with the new format, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. I like that they're evening out the playing field, right? In leagues past, you've had overwhelming number of MLS teams versus Liga MX. Liga MX only has 18 teams, right? So now it's like 18 on 18, and they make sure that there's no friendly fire. So Liga MX is not eliminating themselves. They're playing strictly MLS teams. I like that. I don't like the fact that there's no home and away. That's what I'm asking for. That's what I'm asking for. That's what I'm expecting. Maybe in a future edition, just to switch things up. I think Liga MX fans and Mexican national teams fans are sort of fatigued with every tournament being here in the States. The Gold Cup's always here. The national team plays more games here than they do in Mexico. And yet another tournament that is here in the States, exclusively in the States. And, I would love to see a Cincinnati play Juarez in Juarez. It's a different vibe.
I think that would be an outstanding thing. I've been on the fence in terms of how good Leagues Cup is, and I think it would be so much better if we can get that outlet, get people to Mexico and seeing some of the. When we played, and I'm going to address this to Eddie, when we played at Monterrey, that was an incredible site for us to play at. I mean, are you sort of in that agreement that we need to have more games in Mexico?
Yeah, well, I definitely agree that. I think it just gives it a different vibe. I think what makes for Europe, what makes those types of matches kind of special or kind of unique is when you get those away matches. Last or earlier this year, you saw it. How many Vancouver fans or Vancouver? If I'm not mistaken, Vancouver paid for a certain amount of fans to go from BC to Mexico City. So and give them that type of experience. I mean, it didn't end up well, but it's the experience. It's that experience. It's seeing your club play in a different country, different venue that maybe you never expected ever in your life to be in, and just enjoy the city, enjoy everything that comes with it. Right? It's just not the game. It's just the traveling experience, and I feel like that gets taken away from MLS fans when when you have all this congested tournaments just in Mexico or just in the United States, because like you said, a lot of fans enjoy going down to Mexico. I know we played Forge, and there was some Forge fans there too. So it's
Really,
yeah, there was probably 10 Forge fans that made the trip from Ontario to Mexico. So it's just that experience that comes with it. And I feel like it gets taken away from fans in this competition. At least just having it all in the States.
I think that we're a little soccered out, to be all honesty. I mean, the Gold Cup with the Club World Cup, with the CCC, and all of these tournaments taking place, I think they're really squeezing a lot of blood out of this stone before even 2026 comes around. I mean, I'm definitely feeling a little wary going into this tournament. Eddie, I mean, I'd also like to get your opinion. Are there things about this new tweak that you're not a fan of, other than the fact that it's still all in both the United States and Canada?
No, I've liked the tweaks that they've made. Starting last year with finally making it or making this tournament kind of be you can qualify for the CONCACAF Champions Cup. I think that for me, now going through the Club World Cup experience, and just what that was as my team was in it, I think that's like, okay, if we're not qualified, I will take this tournament seriously just to get to CONCACAF and try to get that Club World Cup experience. So I've liked the tweaks that they've made. It's all been, obviously I'm taking out not having games in Mexico, but just not having Mexican clubs eliminate themselves. And I do like facing like these, I don't want to say random MLS teams, but these MLS teams that we haven't faced, or Monterrey hasn't faced um, in a while, or just I don't remember them facing, like New York Red Bull and Charlotte FC. I do like just that that mix up, because last year it was just Austin FC and then Pumas, and that was it. So I do like the new feel of it. So I do like the tweaks they've made. They, for me, all of them have been on the good side. It's just I'm trying to ignore like the not playing in Mexico, but all the tweaks overall I've kind of been a fan of.
Yeah, part of me, when I look at the Leagues Cup, I see a danger here where it could become regionalized. One of the issues that I've seen with like the U.S. Open Cup, for example, where it's always the same team within your region that you're facing over and over and over again, even if it's the lower leagues. I'm not saying that playing Monterrey is getting boring if you're an FCC fan, but I'm saying a little bit of like a spice of life, some variety really would, I think, mix things up with this tournament. Jaime, maybe this is a question to you. Aside from having more games in Mexico, is there any other additional tweaks that you would like to see perhaps in this tournament?
Just a bigger incentive, right? We are pausing league play for this, at least for the first phase. And our season just started. We're on match week 4 now. So stop and go, it just kills the momentum. And yeah, that's really unfortunate. And also, just 4 teams are fighting for spots, right? So super cutthroat. And I mean, if you're off to a bad start, you lose your first game, you're practically eliminated. So what incentive do you have to continue to stay competitive throughout the rest of the group stage, right? So you might lose your first shot on the first match. I'm already seeing some preliminary results with Toluca losing to Columbus right now. Like Toluca was one of the teams I expected to get through to the next round, but I mean already down 1-0. That's tough, right? You have Leon right now also. I think they're up 1-0 against Montreal. So it's pretty cutthroat. I wish they would have done like round of 16. So top eight. I think that would have been a better move.
Yeah. I mean, Eddie, you're sort of agreeing with that maybe type of tweak as well, or do you have anything additional?
Yeah, I think the prize money, especially now in seeing Monterrey get 20 million from that Club World Cup, I would, and then you compare it to like Libertadores and Sudamericana, like you see the prize money, and it's like, you think having stuff in the States and Mexico, two really good business markets, you think they can come up with like at least 10 million for a prize money, at least make it sexy, because I feel like 10 million can really, like, okay, especially if you're not a big club that has like that type of financial backing, that at least makes a little bit incentive. But yeah, I mean, I don't mind the cutthroat. I do like it, puts a lot more pressure, for a team to not like screw up. But yeah, I'm a big, of the, that's my issue with CONCACAF. Just make the prize money a little bit more enticing. But yeah, I think that would be the one thing that I agree with Jaime. Just they have to fix that.
I think if I was to fix anything, and I think it might require more fixing of the CONCACAF Champions Cup. It feels like we keep playing this over and over again. It's Mexico versus the US or Canada. That it doesn't seem to be much competition within the CCC to make the Leagues Cup feel special. I mean, that's sort of the feel that I get. I see the Leagues Cup almost as an extension of what the CC is, maybe a different half season version of it. I'm hoping that the competition here, with it being just specifically the two leagues against each other in the before knockouts, I'm hoping that provides at least a little bit more variety and a little bit more spice for this tournament. I do want to sort of address the elephant in the room. We don't have an FC Juarez expert here. In particular, we did have someone who we were going to schedule to bring in unfortunately, it seems like if you check the table, they didn't want to maybe show up and convince us that Juarez has a shot against FC Cincinnati. But I know the two of you are both fans of the other two teams. Do you feel FC Juarez has sort of a shot at springing an upset? Maybe address this to Eddie first.
I think, and Jaime might disagree with me, but I see Juarez, and to put it like in an MLS perspective, I feel like they're like San Jose Earthquakes. They're just there. They're
Really?
they're just there. Sometimes you forget they're in the league, and so like, oh, okay, we have to play them. You know, it's one of those. You could tell me better, like what MLS teams for you for FC Cincinnati that you guys feel like, oh yeah, I forgot they're in the league. They're just an afterthought that you don't even think about sometimes. They're just there, and because they're just not competitive, or they try to be competitive, but it's just not good enough. So I just being in California, I know sometimes we have LAFC, LA Galaxy, and now San Diego. But sometimes San Jose gets lost on me that they're a team that in the team in the state that I live in. But Jaime might disagree with me. But I just feel like they're just a team that's just there. Like they just exist to be there.
Well, what are your thoughts about that, Jaime?
Yeah, I think that's a funny comparison. The only difference is, San Jose is one of the original teams that was part of the MLS.
Yeah.
San Jose Clash, right? Whereas Juarez, and this rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, they bought their way in, right? So promotion relegation is not a thing in Liga MX. At the time when they bought their way in, there was still that opportunity to earn your spot in the first division. But there was a very, very terrible team. They're called Lobos BUAP. They were from Puebla. They got into the first division, but didn't have the financial resources to stay afloat. And they actually sold their spot to Juarez, and that's how they got into Liga MX. So right from day one, like it just rubbed people the wrong way. Same thing with Mazatlan. So they're a team where if you are a player that is on a downspin, this is your last chance. They have a bunch of players that were released, or they've been around the block so many times, and you end up in Juarez. Like it's just one of those things. Right now, like Rodolfo Pizarro, right, getting like a fifth chance, right? Because he's been around everywhere. He's been in the MLS. He's been in Europe. Now he's kind of fumbled the bag, and he's now at Juarez, right? So yeah, they are a doormat. Easy victory for anyone involved. I will say, in League's Cup, they have gotten to the round of 32 in both editions, and that's better than my team, better than Chivas. So, as much ish that I want to talk, I got to give them credit. They've somehow managed their way to get into the next round. With this new format change, I don't expect that to be the case.
Yeah, I don't give them much of a chance. It's funny that you compared them to San Jose, because I think the last time San Jose came to play FC Cincinnati in Cincinnati, they lost 6-0. So I don't think we'll put a 6 spot on FC Juarez if we want to make that comparison. But I also spoke to someone off the record, one of the podcasters in the area. Who would you compare it to? And he's like, CF Montreal, no doubt. So I'm like, okay, all right, we'll see about that. They're not having a great season at all, but they've had glory days. So there could be an upset. I don't expect it to happen. Some names up there, Jesus Murillo, who used to play for LAFC. Other than that, and Pizarro, I don't give them too much. But there's nobody here who can defend FC Juarez. So we'll move on from there. Maybe we'll head over to Jaime. You can sort of help us out with Chivas. You mentioned that they're your team. Just looking at their general table form, they've had some issues. 9th place in the Apertura, 11th in the Clausura. League's Cup, they couldn't get out of the group. Maybe the first pressing question I'd have is, what is different about this team that can give you more confidence in them advancing?
Yeah, it's going to be Gabriel Milito. He's the new coach. He's from Argentina. Obviously played at Barcelona and has that garra. He has that passion, and he came in over the preseason and went undefeated. We had a couple of friendlies, like I think 4 or 5 fixtures, and dominated. The team looked really, really different. Chivas have been just chaos for the last couple of years. We've had coaches leave, like Fernando Gago left mid-season, got an offer from Boca and just dipped without saying goodbye. So we've been a mess for a while. And Gabriel Milito, like you could see it forming like that special bond he has with the players, and they're starting to believe in each other. Got off to a bad start with the opening of the season. We actually didn't even play the first game. Our stadium was still going under construction, so we skipped the first match, and then our second match we lost, and then this last game against Atlético San Luis, up 2-0, then went down 3-2, and then came back, clawed their way, and won the game 4-3 in stoppage. So a very dramatic way to get into Leagues Cup. We've made some serious investments. We have Richard Ledesma. We bought Campillo. We've bought a couple players, Efrain Alvarez, who started his career at LA Galaxy. We have a couple of MLS players like Cade Cowell, former San Jose player. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this team kicks off Leagues Cup, and it's not going to be easy. Definitely not.
Yeah. One of the questions, I mean, there's definitely a heavy, if not U.S. presence, a hefty MLS presence. I mean, Alan Pulido also joined in the offseason as well. Richie Ledesma recently joined. Also, Chicharito is still part of the team, as far as I know. I mean, is that experiment still on, or do you feel it's over right now?
Yeah, so I don't know if you heard, but Chicharito had some terrible videos that went viral. I won't get into it, but basically, yeah, he's really shot himself in the foot. He hasn't really been the same player that left the club, a long time ago. And it's really unfortunate because there's a lot of experience there, and yeah, he's no longer like that club legend that we can count on. And Puma dropped out of endorsing him, and I would not be expected if he is separated from the team for this tournament. But with that, we have a young gun. His name is Arturo Gonzalez. They call him Ant-Man in Hormiga. And he kind of reminds me of Chicharito when he first debuted. He's scrappy. He gets those goals in the box. And he was a big reason why we were able to overcome that defeat against San Luis. Like, he came back, scored 2 goals. And he's definitely a player to watch out for if Milito gives him the starting role. That's one of the biggest gripes is he's still using Pulido. He's still using Cade Cowell as a striker. And that's not his natural position. So I really hope that Ant-Man gets his opportunity in Leagues Cup.
Do you feel they have a pretty good shot at getting into this next round?
Yeah, I was looking at the teams that they're facing: Red Bull, Charlotte, and then obviously Cincy. I think Cincy would probably be the most difficult out of the 3, and I think they can get it done. I think they can get into the final 4 from Liga MX. But yeah, I think a lot of the teams going into this tournament are going to be taking this as some more like tune-up matches to get ready for when Liga MX returns back to normal.
The one thing I think, the one plus that they have is they're facing the Red Bulls, who for some reason are playing in FC Cincinnati's home turf on Sunday, one of their games. So it's sort of a head scratcher at that point. So maybe you face them, and I know you're facing them earlier, but maybe their mind is on a lot of different things. I think, judging from perspective, I think they've got a legitimate shot. They could find Charlotte. Charlotte has had some issues. They've had not the best defense that they've prided themselves on in the past. I can see Guadalajara getting through. I can, but it's going to depend on that last game. That last game might honestly be a play-in game between FC Cincinnati and Chivas. Good luck to them. I'm not going to predict. We're not going to predict any scores for this one, but if we did, it would be on our Growler Cup. So if you want to be a Patreon for Cincinnati Soccer Talk, definitely go to our page and sign up. You'll be able to pick some of these games in the future. Let's move over to you, Eddie, and talk a little bit about Monterrey in their turnover. Obviously, the big elephant in the room is their own experiment is done. Brandon Vazquez has moved on. Looking at how they've done, a little bit better. I mean, 5th and 7th in their respective seasons. The Leagues Cup last season didn't get out of the group stage, though. But they've had a lot of success, in my opinion, with the CCC and the Club World Cup. I guess the big question is, how are things now that Vazquez has moved on? I mean, what does the offense look like?
Well, and I'll say this. I know Chicharito's experiment hasn't gone well with Chivas, the Sergio Ramos experiment with us has been fantastic. With us, he's been fantastic. I was never doubting his age. Those players at that level, they just age well. I mean, Thiago Silva, him, and Pepe, I feel like those guys can play into their late 30s, and it's just the smarts. But in terms of offense, it's been Berterame in terms of like the striker. And he's kind of gotten into this hot streak now, especially coming out or into that Club World Cup where he scored against, like he got a brace against Royal Red Diamonds, scored against Borussia Dortmund, almost had a brace against Borussia Dortmund, but one goal was called offside. And then he's just been on a heater for Monterrey, heading in this first in his last 2 matches for them. So it's been a roller coaster because there's been highs with like Sergio Ramos, Sergio Canales, and having all these types of players that have like this European pedigree. But then it's just been these managers like Dan Ortiz, Martin Demichelis. They haven't really been convincing. And then, we turn over. We have Dominic Torrent, who's been Pep Guardiola's right-hand man, was coaching at Atlético San Luis. He took a San Luis team that is middle of the table. He elevated their performance, and so we're hoping that he has that connection. So far, he's been great. First game against Inter Milan, we draw. We get a big draw, so it's like that was like the first positive sign, and it's just been great. Obviously, there's some holes in our team that I'm hoping that they can fix with the transfer window open. But so far, everything that they've done since hiring him through the Club World Cup and now first couple of games into this new season, it's been positive. It's been great. It's just been, to me, I have high hopes that he can be the guy that can finally take this team that's worth a lot of money and finally start lifting trophies.
That was the question I was going to address. Dom Torrent, obviously MLS roots as well. He was being looked at, I think, for the FC Cincinnati job before we settled on Pat Noonan. I don't want to say settled. Let me rephrase that. Before we found a gem in the rough. But I guess the question is, really, how different is his coaching style compared to the last few Argentine managers?
I don't know. I guess for me, it's just been he knows what his system is. Like, he's not changing it. There's no, why are you playing this player as a center back? It's just been, 3 at the back, and it's been the consistent formation. It's been, your 3 center backs and your wing backs, and it's just been consistency. And I feel like that's been the difference than with, Martin Demichelis, who had a defensive midfielder playing center back, and playing your Sergio Canales, who's a number 10, out on the wing. So it was just like weird experiments that people were just puzzling, and it wasn't working. But he was, like all coaches can be sometimes stubborn, and it's like, this is my way. It's gonna work, and it just never did. And we kind of, once he lost to Vancouver, got eliminated by Vancouver. Like, it was like, please leave. Everybody was saying please leave, but they held on to him, I guess, because they didn't want to, the financial side of it. And so we stuck with him throughout the season, and it ended bad. And yeah, so I think right now we're in the honeymoon phase with Torrent. But yeah, it's been great. It's been, like I said, there's obviously some issues that the squad needs to be fixed, but overall, he's been really, really good for us.
That's good to hear. I mean, I once again, I really feel that he's got a little bit of a magic touch sometimes with his consistency. I wonder if he'll become too consistent and predictable, but I think that's something to be seen in the games themselves. Maybe one question before we go over like predictions. I'm trying to remember the last time Chivas and Monterrey have played each other. Can we get anything from the last time that the two teams have squared off to sort of get an idea of their types of play? Maybe I'm gonna address this with Jaime first.
Yeah, I'm like trying to find the last match we had head to head. I'm sure Monterrey won. Like I said, Chivas have been very unpredictable, very up and down. I think their last match they lost 3-1 to Monterrey.
Okay, well, hopefully that's a little bit. You have your opponents. You want to see like what the overlap is. Sometimes if Columbus faces off against Miami and you've beaten Miami, but you've lost to Columbus, you wonder what that makes of your performances against them.
Yeah.
So
What I
just
what I
something off the top of my head.
what I can say is the biggest Achilles heel right now for Chivas is defense, and something that we've been trying to throw money at to replace certain players. We've been doing a lot of trades. We lost, Chiquete Orozco to Cruz Azul, and that was a tough spot to fill. And we've tried to, fill that spot with our academy, and then we ended up having to buy back a player that we let go to Juarez, ironically. So defensively, we've been a little bit. It's just been bad. It's been a mess.
Maybe that's a good transition point to address to Eddie. What is your Achilles heel within Monterrey?
I think we lack like overall scoring depth. I think Berterame it's Berterame and then like a big gap and then a bunch of other guys. Like Roberto de la Rosa, I have no idea why they bought him. He scored against Vancouver and that was his first goal like in almost 2 years or close to 2 years. And then Platano Dorado, youth academy player, but I really didn't see I didn't really understand why they brought him back. I think he was just good flourishing at Leon. But yeah, I think for us, it's just, and that's one of the reasons why I want them to address it during the transfer window, get some more scoring depth. Because if Berterame, I do not want Berterame to play in this tournament just because there's nothing behind him. There's nothing behind him. And if he gets hurt or if he goes on a bad, streak, we're counting on midfielders and wingers to score goals for us because there's nothing behind him, and so like our lack of scoring depth from the number 9 position would be the big weakness. So if they can contain Berterame, if he plays, but yeah, we have nothing in that number 9 position behind him.
This honestly might be, I think, a tournament where you see an additional amount of FC Cincinnati players you normally do not see starting. I wouldn't say that they're going to bring up everybody from FCC's academy, but they've brought in just a handful of people. I'm more concerned about FC Cincinnati's overall depth. We've got a lot of bad injuries at the worst times. Kevin Denke could really give us a spark on offense. Other than that, we really don't have somebody up front who's been able to show that they can consistently score on goal. So that's I think, Achilles heel. Our FC Cincinnati depth is really going to be tested here. Maybe we see Stefan Chirilla, one of the wonder kids on the FCC2 team, come in and get his first goal, like we've seen from the likes of Kimi Ordonez when he was coming up through our academy. But I really think that if Chivas and Monterrey have the depth to spare, they could, I think, outlast FC Cincinnati in one of those games and really make the rest of the competition moot. The Jersey Swap podcast is also sponsored by Beyond Exercise. Beyond Exercise is a local physical therapy and fitness business that helps people stay active and injury-free. In fact, they help some of our local MLS, MLS Next Pro, and FCC Academy players with their health and performance needs. Check out their suite of services at gobeyondexercise.com. Let's ask you guys, you can include your team if you want, but who are you expecting to be in like the top of the Liga MX and MLS tables? Let's start with Eddie.
Oh, I was gonna say Toluca, but I don't know if they're losing right now. I just seen Leon gave up a goal. We're recording this during those games, and those are the two. I was gonna say those are the two at least that I'm predicting. I'm still gonna go with those two. I think I would say in no particular order. I would be Leon, Toluca, and I think America has something to prove just because they lost to LAFC in that one game playoff to get into the Club World Cup. I think they have like a chip on their shoulder. And then if I were going to throw in a wild card, I think it would be, I guess it would be Pachuca because they're always in it. I don't see Monterrey. If I'm predicting, I want just youth players and backups to play for us. Now they can figure out to get advanced. But for me, it's just that's what I want. I don't want any of the starters to play. We're an older team, so I don't want anybody to get hurt. So yeah, for Liga MX, I think it would be those four: Toluca, Leon, although those aren't looking good right now, and America and Pachuca. And then for MLS, I think I don't. I would like to think Inter Miami or Messi is going to take it somewhat seriously, so I think I'd go with them. Um, I, I'm trying to think of us. I don't know how seriously all these teams are going to take. So that's like the kind of like the thing that can throw in some magic. But I think it would be Miami. I go with LAFC just because I have a bias just being in this. I would be I have to pick something here, and then I think I'd go.
It's not too easy, is it?
It's not, because I don't know how seriously. I mean, if you're looking at Columbus and Montreal, they look like they're putting, they're taking it seriously. But I know, I just don't know how many teams are going to take it seriously. But and then you get some random, like we had Juarez advance, so like I don't know how many of these random teams are just going to advance. But I think if I had to pick, I think I'd go. Let's go. Let's go Orlando City, just because they always seem to be in these just because from CCC, I think I'll go with them, and I'd go Seattle just because they're always consistent with that. So like this is some random picks with the top four. If I had to, it's just don't take my advice for like any gambling or anything like that. But yeah, those are my top four for both.
It's tough because I don't think you can really gamble with these. The thing that people now have to realize is that this isn't the entirety of the MLS playing. This isn't the worst teams in the MLS in there anymore. Like DC United are not going to be there for a Liga MX team to just steamroll over. This is the 18 best teams from last year. So I think it gives a little bit of a harder path for some of the Liga MX teams out there. Jaime, do you have a sort of a favorite, a dark horse from either league?
Yeah, this Toluca game is really messing me up. They're down 2-0. So this is a team that's the current Liga MX champion, the current champion of champion. They had that one-off match against America just before the season kicked off. They're the Red Hot Devils, literally. And right now they're losing 2-0 to Columbus. So anything can happen. It's really messing up my predictions. But I will give my flowers to Cruz Azul. I think they have a really good squad. They have a lot of depth. And at least in the first phase, they can get through. Once you get into elimination matches, the meme just keeps getting better. They'll find a way to choke in the end, but I can see them securing a spot. The other one is Tigres. I think Tigres have a great opportunity. They just signed Angel Correa, World Cup winner, and I think they have the squad, the depth to do it. Some of their bench players could be starters elsewhere, and they're also trying to sell some of these players, so maybe a good opportunity to get them an audition somewhere else. So instead of Toluca, I think I'm going to go with Pachuca. I think they could be like the dark horse for sure. Jimmy Lozano is at the helm now, which I was talking a lot of mess about him because I don't think he's a great coach. He was removed from his post at the national team, and now he's at Pachuca. They're off to a great start in the league, 3 out of 3 victories. The only thing about that is they have some tough opponents. They're going to play against San Diego to kick things off. And that's the best team in the West, if I'm not mistaken. So they have a tough test, and I'm going to love that matchup between Chucky Lozano and his former club, Pachuca. That's going to be a good one.
I've got that circled as well. I like that matchup.
Yeah. And of course, I got to be, a Chivas fan. I got to root for Chivas. I think they can get it done. They might win 2 out of the 3 in the group stage. And I don't know if that's going to be enough. That's one of the questions I have for this new format. Do you have to win out your 3 games to get to the next round? There's only 4 spots available. So I think it's going to come down to the wire. It might even come down to goal difference.
Yeah, I think just the result tonight, Columbus leading Toluca pretty close past halftime, I think. Is it? Yeah.
They're in the 67th.
I had Toluca as one of my top 3, so I might have to rearrange my thinking, especially if they get blasted in this game. losing 1-0, 2-1 in the first game is one thing, but being down 2-0 already, you got to hope that you can put at least something on the board and make that goal differential work for you. But they still have two really easier matchups, in my opinion. Montreal and I think NYCFC, who have been really inconsistent this season. So they still have a shot. They got some time. If they can put a goal in, make it respectable, and then win the next two games, I think you can still get in with 6 points, in my opinion. If I was to roll the dice, I kind of like Cruz Azul myself. They're competing against Colorado, LA Galaxy, who have not been great this year. I've heard Ricky Puig is it actually in the roster. So I don't know if that changes the dynamic, but I still think Cruz Azul is going to take at least 2 out of the 3, if not all 3 games in their group. I will throw in, I liked Tigres as well. I really think that San Diego is a good team, but I think they play sometimes with house money. So we'll see what happens when I think teams that might know them a little bit, especially if they already know Chucky Lozano, the way that he ticks. If they can, put a leash on him in this game, then maybe he's neutralized for the rest of the tournament. And in that sense as well, Pachuca, I like them as well. I think they have an opportunity. MLS, I'm hoping Cincinnati's one of them. It would be nice, but I think they stumble at the wrong time, especially in the knockout rounds. So I'm going to just go, let's do it safe. Let's say Inter Miami. Let's say I'm going to say Columbus. I think Columbus is a really good chance to do the double on this. And I will put us in there. We want to play. Maybe this is the opportunity for FC Cincinnati and Columbus to somehow face each other in an actual final. This would be outstanding if that actually happened. That's my 2 cents. I'm hoping you guys sort of see things my way as well. But
so that's how is that like a big rivalry for you guys?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, El Tráfico is probably the best. I mean, there's no doubt. But Hell is Real. That rivalry has so many sort of twists and tweaks to it. The first one being in 2017 when we upset Columbus in the U.S. Open Cup. Ever since that, it's either been boom or bust for either team. Recently, though, it's been closer, and so. But there's so many fans that used to be Crew fans who are now FCC fans. That gives enough, I think, spice to that level of hatred. I mean,
that's interesting, right? Because Columbus Crew is one of the founding teams of the MLS, right? So you have like the old heads, right? Like OG fans, and then all of a sudden you get another team in Ohio, and it's like, all right, yeah. So you see the divide there, and I always thought that was interesting, right? Because it doesn't happen in Liga MX that often, and in MLS you feel like there's always new teams expanding and kind of taking fans with them.
It would be. There's always been like rumors and thoughts and pipe dreams about Liga MX and MLS merging into one big entity. I'm not sure how I would think about something like that if either that appeals to either of you. But would that be a pipe dream in the future, do you think?
I always felt that this League's Cup was an audition for something bigger. And I'm thinking, for Liga MX and for Mexico, we want to get back to Libertadores so bad. Like that is on the top of our wish list. Promotion relegation, but first, like let's get back to Copa Libertadores and play against South American teams. And I always felt like if this tournament was successful, because Messi being Messi and having the influence, he would love to have South American teams invited to this tournament. I think that would be really nice.
Yeah, that once again, it's a pipe dream that I think everybody would like. So let's wrap things up a little bit tonight. Maybe I will give me the winner. Give me the winner, Eddie. Who wins this entire thing?
I think it's going to be another MLS team. I think it's going to be. You know what? I'm gonna throw in there. Inter Miami's 2-time Leagues Cup champ. I'm going with the safe bet here.
Okay.
Leagues Cup, Inter Miami back. Two out of the 3 years. The first time we have a 2-time, or in this edition or rendition of a Leagues Cup, it's Inter Miami, Messi, and all that stuff. So I feel like I'm gonna go with the safe bet. I'm gonna go with Inter Miami.
It's a very good bet, very safe bet. Jaime, how do you see it?
Yeah, they're gonna do everything they can to get Messi another trophy, another title, and basically hold his hand all the way. So I think it's gonna be Inter Miami for sure. But another one could be Columbus. I think Columbus showing right now like they're the real deal for sure.
We'll see. They have some offensive support coming in pretty soon. As much as I'd like to say MLS, I really think it's going to be a Liga MX this time. We've seen differently. I want to see a Liga MX team win this thing, just to sort of prove to everybody that the CCC isn't just for Mexican teams winning it, and the Leagues Cup isn't just for MLS teams who are in the thick of their own competition winning it. I want to see the likes of Cruz Azul win. I'd love that. Why not? That I'm gonna stick my pin in the donkey there. I'm gonna say Cruz Azul. Give it to me.
I like it. It's a spicy take.
It's a spicy take, and my spicy takes are always wrong. So we'll see how that.
You have more
out.
faith in the Liga MX teams getting to the final than us. You have more faith getting into that.
Absolutely. The vibe with, again, Mexico Liga MX is an inconvenience. Like, why are we stopping league play for this? There's no prestige in this tournament, and a lot of teams are taking this as a tune-up and going back to business. And I wish it wasn't that way. And then sometimes I see these matches, and they get into it. There is passion there. And
I think if they spread it out a lot more, if they didn't make it was all, and if they didn't put it into like the chunk of a few weeks, then I think I would appreciate it more. Spread it out, do away with some of the other tournaments if you have to, or at least split it up so that the final 12 teams have their US Open Cup to work with. And then the 18 teams can focus on this competition instead of US Open. Something like that, I think, would appeal to a lot more people. But that's an opinion for another time, for another take. I do want to thank both of you for joining me tonight. So let's close things out. Eddie, can you give us your spiel? Where can we find you guys on social media and the World Wide Web?
Yeah, so our podcast is on YouTube. Search Rayados90 on YouTube, and Rayados90 spelled out, the 90 spelled out, on Twitter. We'll definitely be clipping stuff from when Cincinnati plays Monterrey. And if you just want another Mexican team to follow, that's pretty much all I can sell you on. Is that there is an English coverage for Monterrey if you want to get into Mexican football and all that stuff.
I think you have a lot of fans in FC Cincinnati because of that Brendan Vasquez connection, who are real big into supporting Monterrey. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see a very split crowd that day. Over to you, Jaime. Where can we find you on the World Wide Web?
Yeah. Number one, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. It's been great doing this jersey swap. We don't really get to interact with a lot of MLS podcasts and fans, so it's always nice to get a fresh perspective of things. You can find us on cantinamx.com. All of our socials are there, but really we podcast every Tuesday on Twitter Spaces, so you can catch us there later tonight, and we'll be looking for you. Allow people to speak up and give your opinion. That's our style.
Yeah, go check out both of their podcasts and Twitter Spaces. And of course, if you're going to listen to us, go to our socials as well. Cincy Soccer Talk. Go to CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com for all of our articles. We just covered the Speakeasy joint that we have at TQL Stadium that's opening up soon. Had a little preview of that as well. But of course, if you want to also listen to these podcasts, go onto your favorite platform. We're there. The live show is there. You'll be able to hear all of us in our brazen glory here. But on behalf of myself, on behalf of Eddie, on behalf of Jaime, on behalf of everybody at CSD, thank you very much for listening. And guys, keep your kits clean. I say kits because more than one this time. Thank you for listening, everyone.